Hi, and welcome to More Human, More Resources, the HR podcast for entrepreneurs. I'm Vicki Brown, your host and CEO of Vidamaneo Enterprises. As a serial entrepreneur, I understand that having the right expert help has been critical to my success. That's why I'm dedicated to telling you, in plain language, what's going on in the world of HR that might impact your business and what you need to do about it, with real actionable tips to help you master that list of must-dos and grow your leadership muscle. First things first, the information contained in this podcast is provided for general purposes only and is not to be considered legal advice. Your decision to adopt or not adopt any practice or procedure mentioned in this podcast is solely yours, and we bear no responsibility for the outcome. We urge you to always consult legal counsel and other appropriate licensed professionals. And with that, let's get into the show. You're listening to Season 2, Episode 1. So, let's talk a little about leadership. What's the most important thing to remember about leadership? It's this: leaders give credit and take the blame. I've been thinking about this a lot lately because recently I heard a manager say, the list didn't go out and the client was coming for me, but I told them right away that I had given it to my assistant and I guessed he just didn't send it out like he was supposed to. Now, while that may be exactly what happened, why would you ever say that to a client? To really anyone for that matter? You are the leader. You hold the ultimate responsibility for everything. And I do mean everything that happens on your watch. Sure, maybe your assistant didn't follow through, and maybe you will definitely have to have a conversation with them about that. And maybe even the conversation will be a tough one. But why? Why someone would think that it's okay to throw their assistant or any member of their team under the bus and with a client? Well, that's just beyond me. First, it does nothing to correct the behavior. And second, it does nothing to make you look more competent or above it all. In fact, it makes you look smaller and like you don't know how to lead or manage for that matter. Oh, and one more thing. It's an awful look to your team. If you think they aren't watching what you do and listening to what you say, you are absolutely wrong. So, how do you think it feels working for someone who constantly sacrifices her team members so she doesn't have to take responsibility? Well, how would you feel? I know I would feel like I didn't really want to go above and beyond for that person. Clearly, they only cared about how they appear in the situation. They don't care about me at all, my well-being or my development. So why bother? Listen, I know it can be difficult and it can get under your skin a bit, having to take on responsibility for things you maybe weren't even involved in, or having to apologize for things you had nothing to do with, or worse yet, having to apologize for things when you just know you're in the right. Well, get used to it. It goes hand in hand with being in a leadership role. You know why? Because part of your job is to motivate and grow people. And you aren't doing that if you're busy looking for who to blame and throw under the bus. Those two things just don't go hand in hand. And yes, it can be hard sometimes. And you can feel really put upon sometimes and like it's not fair. But you know what I have to say to that? I say, stop being so selfish. Everything isn't about you and your feelings. As a leader, you have a certain level of authority and power, but it's absolutely nothing if you don't practice servant leadership. You aren't in your role to lord over your underlings and banish them from the kingdom when you feel like it. You need to remember that you are standing on your team's shoulders. You need them, their time, their talent, and their commitment. And they need your leadership, guidance, mentorship, and grace. And if you can't remember that, at least remember that you have to answer to someone too. It may be your boss or it may be your client, but you are accountable to someone, and you are human. So one day, you will make a mistake. Would you like to be the subject of pointed fingers and blaming? I don't think so. Yep, the golden rule definitely applies here. Okay, so I know that was a bit of a rant, but I think it's really important that we remember who helped us make it to where we are and who's helping us continue to succeed. Be kind to your team, grow them, correct them when needed, but always, always support them. If you found this information helpful, please leave a review and tell a friend. Thanks for spending the time. Until next week, same time, same place.